father was a race car driver, and my mother was a data trend strategist for Berkshire Hathaway.
So I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Well, actually, I get car sick quite easily.
What I want for my body is to continue being as healthy as it can be.
Probably the main thing is just a healthy body.
I definitely just want to focus on being healthier.
What I want for my body is to maintain healthy.
I'm worried about you. You don't have to be. He's not real. Physically, he's there. I saw him. Could you just stop? You aren't yourself. Hold on. Look. I know there's something more going on, and I think something. Joel. I need to keep looking, okay? I'm going back to the intersection. If you're not gonna listen to me, please, just talk to someone else. Just do it for me.
I'm out nearly every night at a banger. Going to bed earlier than 4 in the a.m. is no option for this weary spirit.
You need to wake up earlier.
I want to act a fool and eat some breakfast.
Well, I can't help
you. Please, can you find it in your heart to make one bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel?
I can't make breakfast 24/7. I'd keel over in a week. You need to make it in time in order to receive one of Chef Holly's master breakfast sandwiches.
Could you please state your name, position, and the films you worked on?
Hi, I'm Brian Kissig, and for Code Rush, I was director and producer, and for Arm and a Leg, I was co-director.
My name is Buddy Greenbaum, and I'm the producer, director, writer, and editor of Interviewers.
My name is Chris Hurry. I was the producer of Broken Chain, formerly known as The Kid.
Yeah, my name is CJ Bammert, and I am the director of The Legend of Cool Chef McGee.
My name is Danny O'Keefe, and I was co-director on An Arm and a Leg.
My name is Richard Garrick, and I am the director of Fragmented.
Hi, my name is Justin Smigley, and I am the director of Laps.
I'm Carrie Quinn, and I directed Love Yourself.
My name is Tyler Sherman, and I worked on the film Tabloid.
So could you tell us a little bit about your film?
So Tabloid is an abstract dance film that focuses on how the media unfairly targets certain people by manipulating the society around them.
Arm and a Leg is an animated piece. It's an animated piece, also a live action piece where we have an animated character in real life, and it's about a drawing that is rejected by its owner, its artist, and in the end it comes back to kind of help the artist to get where she wants to get in with what she's trying to achieve in her artwork. Code Rush is about two roommates in college who have been best friends for a while but are kind of splitting apart, and they're partaking in this competition, which is a showcase on this new virtual reality technology where they go in and kind of like simulate how cracking codes would be on a computer, but they kind of simulate that in real life, and they go through it and it doesn't end up well, and they kind of have a falling out, but in the end they have to kind of team up together to fight against this group of kind of cyber terrorists who are trying to take over this virtual reality technology for their own nefarious deeds.
Sounds like a solid third act to me.
It is a solid third act. And they kind of come together and, do their thing, and yeah, you'll see what happens, I guess.
My film's about a young man fresh out of college who gets his first big interview for his dream job, and he's pretty nervous going in and things take a bit of a turn for the crazy midway through.
It's about a kid who sees a premonition about another kid that's bloodied up and riding a bike, and he goes crazy and starts looking into ghosts and omens and stuff like that.
All right, I'll see what I can do. So Cool Chef is about this guy, this wandering traveler, and he comes across this valley filled with old people. And there he finds his calling, to become a breakfast chef. And he's great at it. He's their messiah. But as famously as Pa Kent said, what did Pa Kent say?
he said, "Let me die stupidly, Clark. Let me just continue the plot of this crappy film." I said, "Ooh, I need to go get that penny."
Pa
How
Kent
about Uncle
said,
Ben?
"You gotta keep yourself a secret, or they'll hate you." And sure enough, this character, the Frog Wizard,
Now I've played by
Tate Quentin Steinberg. He's a talented young actor.
He is. I've met him a few times.
He sees Cool Chef doing all these great things at the stand. He's jealous. He's hateful. And he tries to sabotage what Cool Chef has going for him. And now Cool Chef needs to keep his good name pure from that dickhole Frog Wizard.
It's a hero's journey I think we can all relate to.
Exactly.
A little bit about it. It's a simple story about a rejected drawing, a little octopus that comes to life to, at first he doesn't realize what he's meant to be doing, but he soon realizes that there's a girl that needs his help to fulfill her dream, and he is the only one that can help her do that.
Fragmented is about a girl who goes through her struggles in life with a lot of inner turmoil and has kind of a fight with her inside demons throughout the piece.
So Lapse is a film about a man who arrives home only to find multiple copies of himself arriving back at his original home.
It's a documentary about people's body image and how it affects them individually.
Okay, so what inspired your film?
I have freckles on the side of my face right here, and that's my favorite thing about my body.
What I love about my body is that by the end of high school, I actually got pretty fit and pretty athletic. And although I don't look like it now, I do have a good amount of muscle.
I love how it's different. Curvy at some parts, some not.
Love Yourself is a documentary that I wanted to make for me and everyone, because everyone has their own body image and it affects them in their own way. So I feel like people could relate to it and would want to watch and see how others go through the same struggle.
So this film was actually inspired by a cast reading of another shoot, Call Time. I had to read multiple roles, so I was running around the rehearsal stage, appearing on camera, and that created the idea of making a piece with in-camera tricks. So that led to the Lapse.
I feel like dance is a really good genre to express yourself without really having to say words. Some films I have made with dance have been lyrical, but this piece was not, and I think that's what carries it along.
Well, my friend and co-director of this film, Brian Kissig, came to me about 2 years ago. He was thinking about actually making this piece for his YouTube channel. He's getting pretty well known on YouTube, and he needs some more content. And he showed me this style of animation that some visual effects artists had been doing, where they made paper characters look like they were moving around in a real space using motion tracking. And he said he wanted to do something with that. So I took it, and over winter break 2 years back, I just wrote out this whole story about this little octopus that comes alive and swims through this space and has a grand old time discovering the world around him. And from there, after I brought the story to him and our artist, Victoria Blair, we just took it off from there, and we never looked back. She helped us design the character and come up with a really clear idea of what he would look like. I storyboarded it, and Brian came up with all these visual effects tests, and we created a really visually compelling film that the likes that I don't think DeSales has seen before.
quite a big story.
One I recall.
You are
very
very
well.
familiar with. So Cool Chef came because one morning, my friend Joe Bologna and I were walking to the Duck.
He sounds like a nice guy.
Yeah, he's okay.
No, I'm not a big fan.
And we were talking about how much we like the breakfast sandwiches at the Duck when they have the bagel and they go up to the griddle. Cook
When
their
it's
stuff.
real food.
Yes. And we both agreed that those were great. And Joe was adamant about he was adamant about getting one of those sandwiches today.
I bet he was.
So he went up and attempted to get one of those sandwiches. And, well, not to drone on, it didn't work out.
No, it did not.
So he came back to the table with a bagel covered in bacon and some scrambled eggs on the side. Was very disappointed with his sandwich experience. And he was just like, man, the Duck just ruined my morning. And then I just said, because, I'm an idiot and I like saying stupid things sometimes. I'm like,
Oh, I know.
I said, well, if Cool Chef McGee was around, he would have made you a good breakfast sandwich. And then everybody said, Cool Chef McGee, who's that? And I said, oh, he's this great hero. He made breakfast sandwiches for all. And everybody said, tell us the story of Cool Chef McGee. And I said, no, I want to eat my food. So then my friend Lisa took my plate, pulled it away from me and said, you will tell us a story right now or you will not get breakfast.
And dare I say, I am so happy she denied you sustenance that day.
I raveled a story out. It was very basic, had a lot of my friends as characters.
It's true. You
that
made
were not them.
You made some people elderly.
Made some people frogs.
Made some people frogs. One a bunny.
Yeah,
It
and
was a fun time.
eventually we had screenwriting class, and I said, you know what? Let's try this out. And here we are.
Yeah.
I had a dream, and I woke up the next morning and wrote it.
Really?
Yeah. Well, then I wrote it, and I was like, wow, this is shit. So I said it to Josh, can I curse?
That's fine.
I said it to Josh and Maureen. I was like, fix it.
So were you ever actually haunted in real life? Is DeSales haunted? Should we call the Ghostbusters?
No, I just dream a lot. That's what alcohol does. It makes my dreams weird. Can I say that too?
You
Is that
shouldn't have, but you already did.
I'm 21.
That's fine. Confirmed 21.
Well, I mean, approaching senior year, we're looking for jobs after graduation. Interviews are a big part of that. So everyone just kind of overthinks it sometimes and turns it into this monster that it really shouldn't be. So I thought, why not put a comedic spin on that and see what happens?
Nothing really inspired me because, how to explain it? Tabloid was part of a dance film festival that takes place in 48 hours, that takes place right here at DeSales. So we had to create this in 48 hours, and we're given a prop last minute, which is part of the project itself. And we kind of threw out all of our ideas last minute, decided to run with this idea of a newspaper, which was the item that was given to us, and kind of started brainstorming random ideas around the idea of a newspaper. So first we were just kind of coming up with different titles, and one of the titles that we came up with was tabloid, because obviously newspaper, tabloid, they are
catchy.
Indeed, yes. So we were like, all right, how can we make a dance film out of a newspaper? And one of the things that I had in mind was the intro to the movie, show. It's on HBO. What's it called?
Game of Thrones.
No. Help me out here. True Detective.
True.
Thank you.
I was about to say.
Yes. So the intro to True Detective is really interesting because they do this cool After Effects overlay effect. I don't know everything that goes into it because Tom is my After Effects guy, my cinematographer.
Sadly, cannot be here tonight.
No, he could not. But I give him a lot of credit for this film just because he really was the mind behind how gorgeous it looks. So that I really think it's important that he gets just as much recognition for this as a director would. But anyway, so when we were doing this, I kind of wanted to do a similar style to True Detective. But since you only have 48 hours to create the film in the first place, I kind of pitched that idea to Tom last minute, and he was like, Tyler, that's impossible. We can't do that. But he's like, is there a way we could do it practically? And I'm like, Tom, that's a joke. How are we going to do that practically? And he's like, well, what if we could theoretically project it onto them? So we scrambled for about 4 hours, which took up 4 hours of our 48-hour period. And eventually we were able to find a projector, which we used to project scanned images of the newspaper onto the dancers themselves. And then there's a lot of different subtext about, society manipulating the dancers. At one point, the dancers change from the nude color leotards to the black color leotards, which is supposed to represent the tabloid, who's always wearing the black color leotard, manipulating society. And then eventually, in the end, the protagonist dancer of the film kind of goes back and changes the color of those leotards back, because the idea is that she overcame what the media had done to her. So all of it is extremely abstract. It's very art school, but we had a lot of fun making it, and I think that it was successful.
The inspiration for this film was I watched a lot of YouTube videos by the YouTubers named Zach King and Aaron Benitez, Final King and VFX Bro. They created this animation style where they used these paper figures and would animate them in real life situations. And I really liked that animation style, so I really wanted to apply that to a film I was doing. And so I came to Danny and said I was interested in doing this, and Danny was the one that came up with the story in general, and we liked it, so we rolled with it. I think what inspired me was, at the beginning, this idea was, I think, more of a web series idea for me. It was more about spies rather than sci-fi and technology and stuff like that. But given the circumstances, I felt like the whole web series, the vast hugeness of that would be a little too much to pull off. So I kind of adapted it down to about a 15-minute script, and I think it kind of works out better that way. It's an idea I've had for a couple years now, and it's kind of molded and kind of pieced into something new, and I think I think the final product in the end turned out probably better than it started out as.
Sounds very interesting. So what would you say was the best part of making this?
I think the best part of making this film was kind of figuring out how to go about it, because we had never really done something like this before. And I think trying to figure those out and having things go right and having things go wrong and fixing them and kind of getting to where we wanted to be was kind of was a gratifying experience. And it was really cool to see how the finished product was, because it's really something that we didn't do before, and we think it turned out great. And I think it's going to improve our skills in the future.
Yeah, especially something as experimental as that. The trial and error must have been a very interesting process.
Yeah, it was a lot of, we had to kind of guess what a result would be, and we'd have to do a lot of tests on set and beforehand, but in the end, I think it turned out fine. It was good collaboration between Danny, me, and Victoria, who she made the characters, and Danny wrote it and directed most of it, and I directed most of the technical side of it. So it was a good blending of our three minds together.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite part of making Code Rush was definitely filming the fight scene. It's another idea and I've had in my head for a long time, and it's really gratifying to see it on screen. And something about fight choreography and fight cinematography is something I'm really interested in doing, and I feel like this was a really good exercise to practice that and really get to know what works and what doesn't work. And I think a lot of it did work, and a lot of it really worked in the edit, and definitely it was an enjoyable experience going through the edit and adding the effects to that and stuff like that. Something I really like to do and want to do in the future. So good experience overall.
My favorite part is, I think, working under the gun, because it's a 48-hour film festival. I really like having to do things when there's a lot of pressure on you. I think I work well under pressure. And I think that was a really interesting way to do this film, knowing that this has to be done by, this time tomorrow, that we don't have an option. So sitting in the editing lab for 12 hours editing after you had just shot for 17 hours beforehand and gotten no sleep, it's like painful, but it's a good kind of pain, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to suffer for your art sometimes.
Exactly. It's like that headache you get when you stare at the computer screen for too long, but it's like a good headache.
Yep.
And I always compare it to working out. Not that I work out, but
No, I have no idea
I
what
don't
you
do
mean by
that.
that.
But I know that after you work out, your muscles are sore, and athletes will say that it's like a good sore. And I feel like when your brain is sore after editing, it's like a good sore of you know what I mean?
So I hear.
The best part, I think, was the chemistry that the actors really had on set. We had 3 really funny actors that when they got in the room, the script was there for them to read, but I mean, half the comedy is just them spitballing. So I think that really showed through on the screen that some of the best parts were unplanned.
Listen! I want to talk to you. I think if we work together, it doesn't need to end this way, but I need you to stop and talk to me.
Probably working with the crew. Everyone really got along, and there was no problems on set, and the actors were great too, so there was no problems, except for the name change.
So basically, like, something similar to someone else said, just the entire process, just finding the location, getting costumes together, casting people, having people in crew positions, and then just shooting it. Literally everything about this, making this film, has been so much fun. On set, everybody had a lot of fun. There was a lot of camaraderie. Everybody enjoyed their parts. Everybody did great. They took the script, they did what they had to do, but they also added their own bits to it. It was really cool. I was just overall, everything about this film has been so much fun.
Having had the pleasure to be a part of it, it was absolutely a wonderful experience all around. And I thank you for it.
And you did a great job. You're one of my favorite parts.
Stop. I want that to be my ringtone, please. Thank you.
My favorite part about making this, although it was the most tedious part, was the 2D animation. You'll notice we mix a few styles in this film, part of which is a little 2D animation section, which was my first 2D animation I've ever done. I've done some simple 2D paper animation, but nothing drawn before. And that was as difficult as it was during the process. I felt very accomplished once I was done.
I think the best part was the fact that nothing actually went wrong at all on set ever with it. Everyone had really good morale throughout the whole entire piece, and I don't think there's ever a point where we were like, "Wow, can we just finish this up? This is dumb." I mean, as someone that was on it, Joe, I believe you had fun making it.
Oh.
I think the best part about making this film was the process itself. It was a very small crew. It was 4 of us. Tate, Andy, and Carrie went above and beyond working on this piece, and we had fun. We laughed. All the mistakes were taken lightheartedly. There was nothing very serious about it. It was just genuinely a good time.
Just having so many people be willing to be vulnerable in front of a camera and sit down and be asked them in front of strangers and a camera and lights about what they hated about themselves.
So what do you hope people get from watching this film?
I hope people realize that they're not alone and that everybody goes through the same kind of issues when it relates to their body image, and that we can all get through it and love yourself.
I hope people watch the film and really question how it was done. It's very much a magic trick, and I think there's a beauty in magic where people have this sense of wonderment, and I hope everyone enjoys it.
Yeah, especially when we live in a time where the movies, the big blockbusters, really focus on CGI special effects. It's always good to see some physicality to it.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well,
Well, I hope that people understand that dance can be a really good form for mixed genres. No, I hope they understand that, dance can be used for many different forms, whether it's live or on film, and it can tell a story without really having to say anything. And I hope people really just enjoy it and have a good time watching it.
Passion. I really want this movie to instill passion amongst other artists. I want it to inspire others to not necessarily perfect their own art, but find something that's meaningful to them and to pursue that. Because I'm a big believer in that you should find something that you're good at and something that you're passionate about. 1, to be happy in life, but 2, to be the most successful human being you can be.
Touched me here. Cool. Any closing thoughts?
Well, this is one of the most fun scripts I've ever written, and I think people are just gonna have a fun time watching a little octopus swimming around the space on screen.
Not since Oswald the octopus.
Indeed.
that people have a connection.
I hope people think it's funny, honestly. Just, I hope people see it and just go, this is insane, and think the jokes are good, because that's what I want it to be. I just want it to be funny. There's not much to it other than it's ridiculous, and that's what you get from it. That's cool.
Cool.
For this film, I hope that people don't see the ending coming. I don't think it's obvious throughout the film until the very end, so.
Mostly I just want people to laugh, have a good time. I mean, I think we could all relate to the experience of going through an interview. It's stressful, you know, you put on your best clothing and you go in expecting anything. So I think if they can relate to that and just kind of have the humor in it, I think that it would be a good experience.
Absolutely. And it's very relatable as well.
Yeah.
I hope that people react in different ways depending on who it is that's watching the film. I hope that the people that are the society that are watching the film, basically anyone who isn't the target or the culprits, aka the person that's being targeted as by the tabloid industry or the tabloid themselves, everyone else, I hope that they watch it and realize, you know, hey, sometimes what I'm seeing is not completely objective. There's other opinions that they're kind of subtly placing in my mind. So I hope that people think about what they're watching and consuming on media. And I hope that the tabloid industry kind of thinks about what they're doing, the fact that they are kind of ruining people's lives sometimes, that they are unfairly, you know, saying wrong things about celebrities, and they think that just because someone is wealthy that it's okay to say these awful things about them. When in reality, it's really not, that they have feelings just like everyone else. And I think that is the ultimate goal of this film.
I hope people get from this film is, I don't know, there's a lot of different ways that you can go about making a film, and you know, with animation definitely being a thing, there's not one way to do a certain thing, and I hope it would inspire, I guess, other filmmakers to try different things, just like how the filmmakers I watched on YouTube inspired me. So that's basically it.
One of you will be the retriever. You will breach security software by hand, retrieve data in person, and physically defend yourself against viruses and other malware. The other member will be the messenger. You will communicate with your partner in order to get past any obstacles and retrieve the data that we've hidden within the system.
I'm not looking for a specific reaction. I just hope people enjoy it. I hope people really get into it. I want it to really, like, you know, kind of get people going a little bit, get them hyped and excited a bit, because it's like an up-paced, like fast-paced film, so it's really like exciting at parts, and there's a lot of action. It's action-packed, so I feel like that's mostly what I want people to get out of it.
Cool, very cool. So if you were to pitch your first film and Code Rush in a fight to the death, who do you think would win?
That's a hard one, because you got two different ends of the spectrum.
Mhm.
Arm and a Leg is I'd say a very, very like festival piece. It's like, you know, it's
Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah, it's artsy in that kind of sense that, and it's also, you know, experimental in the animation side. It's told in no dialogue also. So that's another thing that it has going for it. Where Code Rush is, you know, different. It's more classical, kind of Hollywood style. You know, big production. I'd say it's on pacing wise and subject wise, a little more on the web video, YouTube kind of style. Where it's interesting to have worked on two very different pieces this year, and I'm really glad that these are the two that were accepted in the festival, because these two haven't been seen by anyone else. There's two premieres for me in the festival, when I had other films that people had already seen, but these two hadn't been premiered anywhere else yet.
Cool. Well, I'm excited for people to see them.
Yes.
As am I excited to see them myself,
Yes.
because I haven't seen them.
It's just like so weird. I feel like it's like so weird that you haven't seen them.
Good luck in the future.
Thank you.